Alrighty. The Hangout on Air is live. Welcome to Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance meeting for September 24th, 2014. We have our agenda and we have our stuff. Should be probably a short meeting, but we'll see how it goes. Potentially.
First things first, we neglected to do this last time, and someone pointed out to me that we should acknowledge publicly that Sean King is not here because he let us know that he wasn't going to be able to make the meeting, and we catch up with him later and catch him up in the minutes. So,
yep.
Someone was asked after that last meeting that he missed, was asking why he wasn't there, and we didn't even mention it. So,
probably important to mention, yes.
Yes.
So yeah, we just got the heads up earlier, just a little bit before the meeting. So in the future, we may need to just adjust the meeting around so we can all make it. That might be a good idea. But we still have a quorum, so
yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any other better day that would work besides in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
we originally chose this because we wanted something during the lunch break that would work well for Jesse.
Yeah.
And possibly for Sean as well. I'm not sure. Anyways, but I think most of us control our own schedules for the most part.
Yeah,
so
I think it would be good to move the time a bit. When I have a Wednesday morning meeting that sometimes we get breakfast together and sometimes that goes long. So.
Right. Okay.
It might behoove us to move it to either the beginning of the week or the end of the week, so that way things that we discuss and we're talking about, we have time to work on. And right in the middle of the week, I've just noticed that there'll be things that we talk about, and I can't get to them for the rest of the week because my week's already booked already.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to play catch up for the next part of the week, and it's just kind of topsy turvy.
I would recommend that we try to find a time on like a Monday. Or
yeah, or a Monday or even a Friday. Like if we could just convene at the end of the week, even that would be better than in the middle of the week. But Monday is good for me also.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, either a Monday or a Friday. Because I guess it depends because this is mostly volunteer work. I mean, it depends on whether or not people are going to be doing stuff over the weekend, or if it's better to.
All right. Well, that's a good agenda item to follow up via email. So
yeah.
I'll add that there.
Okay. Cool. Great. Okay. The first thing on here, I'll speak on that really quickly. I sent an email to you guys, but just to bring that up so we can discuss that real quickly. I think it would be a good idea, and I propose that we as the Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance come on as quote-unquote sponsors of all of the Bitcoin meetups in the state, which right now there's just really the big ones, the National Bitcoin Meetup, and then there's a newer one in Chattanooga and one as well in Knoxville. But I think if we offer our services to help coordinate volunteers who can meet via video on a community and membership team, representatives from each meetup to help plan their meetings, so that way they can pool ideas and resources. And I mean, honestly, they could have the exact same meeting happening in Nashville, Chattanooga, and Knoxville, and no one's going to be at all three. So regardless, whatever they do, if we help coordinate the volunteers and the brain power to make that happen, then we could say that the meetups are sponsored by the Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance, in which case, once we have branding material that we're ready to publicize and stuff, we could have that go on each meetup page as a sponsor, give the TBA a little bit more publicity. It means that we have a direct connection to potential members across the state, and as more meetups arise, and they know that they can, we can help them with the same thing. So that's my suggestion. You guys have thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I second Sean's email reply, which was like, I am all for this. I think it's a fantastic idea. My only concern is just that we, have the manpower to do it. I think sometimes we have a little bit of challenge even just with our own local meeting, and also too, I think it would be important to kind of separate out what support are we going to provide in terms of just like actual monthly regional meetup coordination, as far as like who's going to bring food, who's going to speak, who's going to get sponsors if they want to go that route, that kind of like just more meetup stuff, and then beyond that just the TBAs as far as all our different action teams and the different things that we're doing and how that would apply definitely to those regional communities, basically, outside of just their monthly meetup. But I think it's a great idea. I think we should do it. I think it would challenge us to get a little more professional, even with our own monthly meetup. You know, have it scheduled, who's going to be speaking, have it organized ahead of time, who's going to bring food, you know, if we're going to do food or not. And then, yeah, I think it's great to be able to say, hey, let's pool those resources. And then beyond that, too, I think one of the most important aspects of it is it gives us a connection to regions we don't currently have representation on our board with. So it's like if there's something going on in Chattanooga, there's something going on in Knoxville, something going on that really is important to Tennessee, we need to know about that. We're not going to be an effective board for Tennessee if that's if we don't have that opportunity to know what's going on.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, I mean, I had a phone call with Bob Biles the other day. He's the one who started the Chattanooga Bitcoin meetup. And I mentioned this idea to him, and he was thrilled. Their meetup's still pretty small; it's still very new. But they just had their last meetup, and he messaged me and said they had like 4 or 5 new people show up. Some of them from the college there in Chattanooga, the university, which is awesome. So I mean, I think so. It's new but growing. I think the main thing we need to do is, if we're really going to represent the state, we need to stay plugged into these meetups, because that's really the main relationship factor for the average people involved. So yeah, so I think if you guys are all on board, I'll coordinate that. I'll whoever is interested in being part of the community membership team from our meetup, as well as I'll recruit at least one member from the other meetups and put together a meeting, and we'll start talking about scheduling and stuff like that, and ideas, because I think as a team we'll be much more effective than individually. And we can even start, we can even help start more meetups after that, once those ones are established. I mean, got a couple contacts in Memphis who would be interested in that. So, I mean, there's other places. So, yeah, I think that'd be good.
Got it done yet?
Not yet. But I just want to make sure you guys we're all on the same page before I...
Yeah. Actually, along those lines, I don't know if you guys saw, I didn't have a chance to look into it in depth, but there was a Reddit post about the Global Bitcoin Alliance, and they're doing like support for other Bitcoin Alliance groups, and I just thought that was really interesting because of the Alliance name, for one, but two, this is probably something we should look into, whether or not we are going to join a group like that. I'm sure we'll be associated with it because of the name. So that's something I should have put on the minutes, but it's something the agenda, but I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, oh, hey, I'm curious if the guys have seen this yet.
Yeah, I looked into them a little bit before we finalized the Alliance name. When I looked at like it was right before we had our big meeting where we elected our interim board and stuff like that, where I had a meeting with the guys at the Bitcoin Center in New York, with the Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance. I'm sorry, not the Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance, but the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada. Met with them. And I did reach out to the Global Bitcoin Alliance and said, hey, we're starting something up in Tennessee. We'd love to collaborate or talk. And I didn't hear back, so I may need to reach out to them again sometime. But it's definitely interesting. I think they had an interesting model from what I saw. Yeah, I mean, we'll be associated with them just by name, I'm sure, even if we're not officially connected.
I think it's worth just dropping an agenda item just to go ahead and, like you said, just reach out to him again. I think we're a little more established now. We have something that we're doing. I'd love to just kind of get their feedback, even just on what we've done so far. As much as we can be a great lead for the other groups in Tennessee that are just getting started, I think it's wise for us to look at other large organizations that have been going for a longer period of time and see what we can learn from them.
Okay. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Lots we talked about logo design. You passed some stuff on to Matt Wilson's designer, and have you heard anything back from them?
I haven't heard anything back yet, no.
Okay. Would you check in with them?
Yep.
Because it's been a little over a week, so I'd like to get some progress, if possible. I mean, I guess that's that agenda item. And then one thing I wanted to let you guys know about, and I think we talked about this briefly the other night at the Bitcoin meetup in Nashville, but Jessica, what's her last name? I'm going to look up real quick. I think it's Harlan. Yeah, Jessica Harlan, who's actually Rayanne's niece, I think. They're related. I think it's her niece. So she came to our meetup. It was her first time there. And I sat down and talked with her for a while after Rayanne's suggestion. And so her background's all in like PR. and she was very interested in coming on as a volunteer to help with the public relations aspect of things. As far as not only writing press releases and things like that, but also helping coordinate volunteers to get things started on. She was really passionate about the idea of getting college students involved by getting more stuff on campus, Bitcoin-wise, and things like that. So, I mean, she had a lot of really great ideas, and I wanted to just kind of mention that to you guys because my intention at this point is to bring her on as like technically the assistant team leader of the public relations team and start putting that together. And I think at first that would mean that I think Rayanne's trying to respell her name, Luke. I'm guessing that's Rayanne on there because it's anonymous. But what was I saying? I'm sorry. We have press contacts. We have people like the Nashville Technology Council who just Monday were saying things to me like, "Hey, we want more content. We want to publish your stuff." So, and we're not really taking full advantage of that. So, I think that that's something where she could definitely come in and help. And I plan to meet with her and hash that out a little bit more. But I just want to let you guys know and make sure you guys are cool with that. That we're bringing out a volunteer to help with PR.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely necessary.
Cool. And she did mention she has a twin sister, an identical twin sister, who also has a background specifically in corporate and nonprofit communication and PR. So she said that once she gets involved, her sister just had a baby, so she's a little busy right now. But they're both really excited about the idea and they're fascinated with Bitcoin. So she said she might get involved too at some point. So I think I'm really glad Rayanne introduced me, and I think it's a really great opportunity. I'm good?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. One. You said you were saying the assistant. What was the term you used? I just want to make sure I had that right. The assistant
team leader for the public relations team. Because I'm technically right now all the team leaders are board members. So right now I'm technically the action team leader for the public relations team. And then what I would do is I would bring her on as the assistant team leader. And start delegating and working with her as far as those things go.
Okay. So with that, I was just realizing we didn't put it on the agenda, but the kind of raises the question about the structure of the different team lead structures and how we're going to do the process of bringing on new team leads and informing those teams. Not sure if we want to dive into that now or.
No, I mean, that's a good point. I think we need to at least establish a strategy moving forward as far as how we're going to deal with that. I know we've thrown a document around, but haven't really made a lot of progress in the last few weeks on that. What do you guys think is the best strategy to move forward to get an improved operating procedures or contract or what have you or license for action teams?
What do you think about that, Sean? I mean, we have in the Wonder List, it's not on the agenda right now, but still from the previous one, we have flesh out and finalize action team SOP, and then an action team for sales and marketing, community membership, things like that.
Yeah, I think that as far as bringing on new team leaders or assistant team leaders, I think that's covered under the SOP already.
Okay.
I have to reread it here, but. Yeah, it's already covered in there.
Okay, well, but it's more than just team leaders. In general, we haven't actually formally accepted any operating procedures or anything like that. So I think
that's correct. Yeah, it hasn't been formalized.
Right. So I think, how much more work do you think it needs before it's in a place where we can approve it on an action team by action team basis?
I don't know. I think that I've put it up there and I've put a lot of work into it, but there hasn't been any. I haven't gotten any feedback from anybody on any of the documentation that's been up there. There hasn't been even a single comment.
I mean, I've read through it, Sean. I think it's great. My understanding was from the last couple of meetings that you had more work you wanted to do on it based on the teams that you were actively involved in. If that's not the case, if you think it's ready now for comment and feedback or us to do additional work on it, that's great. That wasn't my expectation. Like, we don't have any action items for that. So if you want us to do that, if it's at that stage, let's get it out to the community. Let's start, going through it even as a board and just say, hey, this is it. We've got it.
Yeah, it's actually shared out right now with several of the members already. Oh wait, you know what? Actually, I think that that might not be the case because this has been moved, and so it looks like it's only shared amongst us. That's a problem.
Well, I mean, regardless, I think we talked last time we talked about this, Sean. I think the plan was this is going to be the general general thing, and then you were going to make a copy of it specific to something like the web and design team, so that we could approve it on it because it's going to be specific situations based on each action team.
Well, no, that's in fact that's the opposite of what I was trying to do. I was trying to make it where it was generic enough or general enough that it would apply to all teams. With specific, we could make specific modifications for each individual team, or like an addendum for a certain team. But no, the overall standard operating procedures would be just that, standard operating procedures for everybody.
Okay. Well, does it include specific things about like what? I mean, we will need the one thing I need. I think we do need specific to each action team is what exactly they're authorized to do, because different action teams are different things. What exactly they're authorized to do on behalf of the organization.
In which case, that would be a description of the action team that would be defined. In fact, I think you were the one that went through and created those definitions on the action teams page.
Yes, but I mean, Sean King brought this up before that he said that based on our bylaws, we as board members as a whole have a lot of authority. Individually, we don't have much authority, and we have no authority unless it's given to us. I, as the executive director, have some authority. You, as the treasurer, have some authority. According to our bylaws, action teams don't have any authority to act on behalf of the organization until we create a contract that says you have the authority to do this, 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 and this. And I don't think that's the description. I think the description is kind of like a summary of that, but we still need some type of contract, even if it's just a one-page document that says, like the legal and policy team, for example, they have the authority to meet with senators on behalf of the organization or review bylaws and submit filings.
So again, like I said, as an addendum to the standard operating procedures, we should have like I said, it's an addendum that would define each one of those action teams and what each one of those action teams is allowed to do and not allowed to do.
Is that like at the bottom of the current document where you have project contributions and project implementation? Would that be specific to each group?
No, in fact, those two were the last two sections that, in fact, contributions and implementation were kind of part and parcel. They are almost one and the same. But here, I'm saying that okay, so we would add a definitions of. In fact, I have to sit down and write this out, but.
Yeah, I want to make sure again, like I tried to clarify last week, Sean. I don't want you to feel like you have to do all this work. And the last time I asked, hey, is there anything we can do? Is there anything you want us to jump in and do? And my understanding was, no, I got it. I'm going to be fleshing these out as John mentioned, as I work with the website team. So if you'd like us to be involved more, and so we can finalize this draft and say, hey, here it is, let us know. I mean, because I want to make sure. I think you've again got a great start. You've got a fantastic framework here that we can start with, but I don't want to just start putting random stuff in there if it doesn't fit with what you're saying, because I'm not sure what a project contribution or project implementation, even just that dialogue we just had, is helpful to know. We're looking for a really great generic document that, hey guys, sorry, I may need to move to another room, but we're looking for a very great generic document that will only need minimal additions as far as creating new teams. So if that's the process, I want to make sure we're clear on that, and then we have that organized. So I don't know at this point if John can or Sean can jump into that without having clarity on what you're thinking. So again, if you want us to jump in and help, let us know. We'll create action items and we'll try to do it.
I think that's exactly what we need to do. I hadn't put the or thought to make a specific a specific definition of roles and responsibilities for each individual action team, but that's a good point. It can be attached as an addendum to the document, but then the document itself is the generic overall standard procedures. And as far as contributions and implementation, that may even be able to be condensed into one section, but I think that may also I think that may also be superseded by the roles and responsibilities addendum, because contributions and implementation can mean many different things depending upon which team you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So to boil this down into action items, it sounds like the generic, if we were to remove project contributions, project implementation, and just put a generic statement of each action team shall, define out the roles and responsibilities for its group, and clarify, as John mentioned, the rights that the group, the powers that the group is given by the board to act on the board's behalf. If those things need to be defined and then approved by the board, I think that's great. I think that should be enough to get us moving forward.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm sorry. I didn't sleep much last night. Yeah, I think that that might work. So we can just kind of finish fleshing that out, and if we want to write those roles and responsibilities for each individual team.
Well, okay. Well, but we need when we're creating action items, though, we need to assign them to specific individuals rather than the royal we. So I mean, like, is this something that you're doing, Sean, or is this something you need one of us to do?
I just started filling out the titles, but actually, John, if you're the one that wrote the descriptions, maybe it would be best if you went in there and finished out those descriptions and kind of officially put them in the document.
Okay. For the roles and responsibilities.
I think as chairman, it makes sense for you to start thinking about the level of responsibility as far as acting on our behalf. That would probably be a good thing for you to work on as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'll take a stab at that, and then present that for review. Is the the standard operating procedures document, other than specific roles and responsibilities for each action team, is that pretty much done?
By and large, I think that there's some review and some. I think that maybe there's some polishing and some tweaking that could be done. But I think that that's something everybody kind of needs to read through it, make sure it makes sense, and make comment on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put an action item for each one of us to read through that and comment on it.
Good. Okay. And I think we should probably also start attaching. Well, I don't know. We should probably start attaching dates to some of these tasks, because I noticed like some tasks start accumulating in Wunderlist that have been there for 3 weeks. So I mean, is our goal to get this done before our next meeting or before our next 2 meetings?
Good question. I don't know that it's been defined yet.
Yeah, Sean?
I mean, if we want to set a goal,
I mean, if we miss the goal, we miss the goal. But I think we should need to have some goal to at least work towards.
To be realistic, there isn't really a whole lot that I'm going to be able to get finished myself. I mean, I can work on it, but I don't know if I'm going to get anything finished before next Wednesday. I've got several things on my calendar right now.
Yeah, same here. I mean, we're leaving for South Carolina right after this meeting, and I won't be back till next week. So.
Right.
Okay. So maybe let's put a goal date on it of our next board meeting. After, next after, what I mean.
Right. Okay. So in 2 board meetings.
2 board meetings.
Okay. So in 2 board meetings, we'll revisit the action teams, and hopefully when we should be at a closing point by then.
Cool.
And just to confirm, 2 board meetings from now will be October 8th.
Assuming that we don't move it.
Right. Assuming we don't change our meeting time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry, that was a little bit of tangent. Wasn't on the meeting notes, but I think it was really important to talk through. So.
It was. Thank you for bringing it up. That is important.
The next thing is the MOOC opportunity. What is that?
Yeah, it's a massive open online course. So I don't know if Luke, you saw this yet, but we got a message on Meetup from someone who is her name is Kalia. She's the scientific coordinator assistant at the University of Nicosia, And apparently they've recently launched the first master's degree in digital currency in the world. And they're doing like a massive open online course that's free. It's high caliber. It's taught by Andreas Antonopoulos and Antonis Polomidis. I don't know who the second person is, but so they sent us a message and said, hey, our second session starts on October 15th. We wanted to see if members of your meetup would be interested, and I don't think that you knew about the Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance, but I think it's actually something we should talk about possibly promoting to a larger group. And it's, I mean, from everything I've seen, I can't, based on what I'm looking at right now, I'm not sure if it costs anything or not. I know there's something that's free and there's something that's just not labeled, so I'm going to pull that up and check real quick. But to register for the Masters in Digital Currency, that includes the free massive online course, select Masters in Digital Currency. Okay, cool. So it's essentially the course is called Introduction to Digital Currencies, but it's a tested course, pass or fail. And they said last time they had like a 20% completion rate, which is actually apparently fairly high because it's a massive online course where you have hundreds of students online. Not everyone finishes it, takes the test or whatever. Anyways, what do you guys think about that? Does that sound like an interesting opportunity we should promote or research more?
If you could forward me the email, I don't think I got it, man. I have issues with Meetup emails, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, Meetup upgraded recently, so if you log in, you actually have a message dashboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, there you go. I just see that now. I see that. Okay.
Yeah.
I see that. So that just came in yesterday. Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. Yesterday.
Luke and John. Okay.
Yeah. So it looked interesting.
So the Seans have not seen this. I'm going to go ahead and forward it to them.
Good call.
I think it's hard to comment on something unless everyone's actually had a chance to read through it. But yeah, I can go ahead and forward this along. I'll forward that along, and then I guess let's just discuss that via email, because at this point we don't know what we're discussing. So,
okay.
But it does seem like a really cool, interesting idea. I think when stuff like this comes up, I think as long as it's legitimate, and again with Andreas involved, I'm fully supportive of anything he's involved in because he's got a great track record so far. I think things like this should definitely be things we promote to the group and say, hey, this is available. Whether or not we're involved beyond that, I think I'm not sure. I think it's a case-by-case basis once we understand it more.
Right.
But a lot of these are probably just mass emails that go to a bunch of different any meetup that has Bitcoin in the name kind of thing. We get them quite a bit with FoxyCart. People wanting us to advertise and this that, and the other. They're not like generally personal reach outs, but this may be. It does seem like a pretty cool opportunity.
Yeah, it does. And I actually this isn't the first I've heard of this course. I actually heard about it on Twitter. They had a little publicity because after their online course, the first round of it, based on everybody that passed, they then recorded a hash of those results in the blockchain. So
nice.
It's the first like university. They were saying it's the first university-held online course where the results were stored in the blockchain. So anybody can verify. If someone says, "Hey, I passed this course," and here's the hash to prove it, anybody can verify that with the blockchain.
That is very cool. That's very cool. All right, well, I just forwarded that along to the rest of the board so we can discuss that.
Okay, good.
I'll create an action item for us to discuss that. Again, I'm going to be out most of this week, so I'm not sure how much time we're going to have to go through all these details, but very cool. The next thing also that's not on the minutes that definitely needs to be is the Sobrofest is Friday, is that right? What's the status on that?
So I swung by the NTC, the National Technology Council office on Monday and talked to them real quick about it just to confirm. They said that we're not going to do the beacon thing after all because they were going to do some other stuff with it, and I guess that fell through. So they're not going to do a beacon, but they'd still like us to have a table. She said not to worry. I was talking to Samantha. She said not to worry about the fact that we don't really have a lot of signage or anything because she was saying they don't either. But she really, she encouraged us to try to have a couple merchants we could feature there, especially if it's something that is touchy-feely, as she described it. because it's not like a tech festival. It's like a beer festival. It just happens to have tables featuring some tech companies. So, yeah. Either way, she suggested we have there. Maybe she said even if it's just a flyer that you guys have of like your next meetup, or a little bit about you guys for the Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance. Do that. Feature a couple businesses, and boom. So James Shealy from the EPS store, he's agreed to be there, and then we haven't. The other two that I was waiting to hear back on were Flight and Peacock.
Peacock looks like they're going to be a no-go. They've been out of the office and had sick people and stuff like that. So
Okay.
I just talked to them this morning, and they actually have work scheduled on that day. So I don't think that's going to happen for them.
Okay.
Yeah, and I emailed Bill as far as Flight goes. I need to follow up with him as well.
Okay. Do you have his phone number, or does one of you guys have his phone number?
Yeah, I do. I can give him a call today.
Okay. Since it's in like 2 days, I figured
Chances are slim.
do it.
So chances are probably slim, because it is in 2 days.
Yes.
I have boxes of the Why Bitcoin magazine.
Awesome. Good. I was gonna bring that up. By the way, I still have your Bitcoin here stickers in my car.
I have these as well. I don't know if we want to use these as well.
Oh, the Plan B pamphlets? Yeah, I've got some of those too.
All right, cool. As long as you've got those. I will not be here, as I said, so.
Right, you'll be out of town. That's fine. Yeah, the event's from like 3 to 8. She said setups at 2, so I'll probably show up shortly before 3. You don't really have a lot of setup to do. So, and I don't know if we'll stay the whole time. I guess it really depends on, how it goes. But one thing in regards to that, besides Why Bitcoin magazines and those It's Time for Plan B things, is there anything else you guys think that we should have there, printing material-wise?
Well, anything that we should have or could have, it's probably a bit late to get them printed at this particular point.
I think last week what we talked about, John, you had mentioned you were going to take our existing Bitcoin Alliance,
Right.
logo that we have and just print something out. Is that something you're still planning on doing, or?
Right. Well,
may not have made it as an action item, but that was my recollection.
Yeah, we did chat about that briefly. It wasn't an action item, so I forgot completely about it. But but like I'm not sure print what though. Like just like a piece of paper with our logo on it, or like maybe just something that says Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance. I mean, I can do that. I can take a logo and just print up just on a regular piece of paper that like 8.5 by 11 that says Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance. Catch some eyes. I think I'll definitely have a sign up there for our email list.
Yes. I think it'd be great. I mean, we've done that at conferences that Foxcard has sponsored, even just a little piece of paper with the logo of the event that's going on and, something that we want to talk about it so people know, oh, this is what this is, along with our own flyers and stuff. I think that would be great.
Yeah. Oh, and along that same note, it's not on here at the agenda, but so I did talk to a guy that owns a couple. I mentioned this, Sean. I told you about this yesterday. I talked to a guy that owns a couple of food trucks in Nashville, and he's gonna try to get me to come. He's gonna try to work it out so I can come speak at the next meeting of the Nashville Food Truck Association, which apparently exists. And I mentioned offhand that like some of the first businesses to accept Bitcoin were food trucks in like Nashville or New York and San Francisco, and they were like, done. It's an awesome idea. So he was really thrilled. His business is almost definitely going to start accepting it, and then we're going to talk to the others. The National Technology Council, when I mentioned this to them, they said that, or Samantha did, she said that if we can get like all or at least a good number of food trucks in the Nashville area to accept Bitcoin, we could host like a little kind of mini festival launch party in the parking lot outside the Entrepreneur Center in Pinewood Social area, and just like one night like have them all come and have a bunch of people show up and pay Bitcoin, food truck style. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. That's kind of like a scaled down version of what we talked about doing once before about having like a Bitcoin festival type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see some logistic issues with that I think that we can overcome. But if we, sit down and plan that out, I think it could come off really well.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. First, they have to accept Bitcoin, or at least decide to accept Bitcoin. So we'll see how that goes. But
and have the point of sale system and internet and things will have to happen in order to make it possible.
Well, right now they're almost all using either tablets or smartphones for their checkouts just to accept like PayPal or Square. So it shouldn't be, there shouldn't be a whole lot of issue there, but yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. But apparently they also, the NFTA, or the National Food Truck Association, apparently they have an app that you can use to look at the live location of all the food trucks in Nashville, like based on where they are right now.
I wonder if it would be a good idea to approach them about putting on their app information about each of the food trucks to indicate whether or not that food truck accepts Bitcoin.
It's not a bad idea. Ideally, if we can get all of them to accept Bitcoin, then
Nice.
then it'll be no-brainer. But
Yeah, that would be cool.
yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now, just so you guys know.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay, and then Luke, do you want to go over that last one of last agendas, last week's?
Yeah, I'm just striking through. I think we've pretty much hit the action points that I have in the document. Let's go through Wunderlist, because as you mentioned, John, sometimes things get on there from previous weeks. They don't make the document.
Right.
So, Sean, I think you've got a couple here. The create an action team. Well, here I'll start at the top.
I just added that one for you.
I see that. Yeah, it's on my list. I was actually going to email him, just let him know I'm out this week, but I was going to hopefully connect with him next week for that. Sobrofest you're on, and then Sean for create an action team, meeting with sales and marketing, community membership for determining the membership levels and things like that. That's still on there.
Yeah, and that's still in progress.
Cool. And what you can, I don't know if you use Wunderlist much, but you can double click and actually add notes, which are really helpful, and even subtasks.
Yeah.
So if you double click on it, there's a section for adding notes, even comments beyond the notes. So I think that would be a good way for us to, throughout the week, update each other on what's going on without even just sending emails, and even just for yourself, like, oh, this is my item, I need to make sure I'm keeping track of it. So I think I see right there, 2 days ago, have you talked to Bill, Luke? So that's a great example. I didn't get an email for that comment, but that is one that's in there. So we also have the flesh out and finalize the action team SOP, which we just discussed. It sounds like, Sean, you've done most of what you need to do as far as that specific item, right? Do you want me to? Can we shut that one off?
Yeah, if we want to, like I said, we want to get in there and just start commenting on it and kind of fleshing it out and polishing it. Or I don't want to say fleshing it out, but polishing it off.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out, just because I've got, for this week, I've got action items for each one of us to go in and comment on it. So I think you've gotten a good start on this, and I think that's good to no longer just have that be your thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and check that one off.
Right.
All right. And then email address aliases. I think that's yours as well, Sean.
Yeah, it is, and what we'll do is, I think, in fact, I've already started updating the SOP. As we flesh that out with the descriptions of the action teams, we'll throw that in there and create those addresses.
Cool.
Right. Okay.
As far as the Sobro, do you have any more specific details, John, that I could send along to Bill when I call him today, just to say, hey, or even if we just want to call Flight directly if Bill's unavailable, and just say, hey, here's the details. Here's the time, from this time to this time. Here's where the booth is going to be, that kind of thing.
I don't know where the booth's going to be. I know it's going to be between 3 to 8, setups at 2, and it's in the Trolley Barns parking lot outside, that whole Entrepreneur Center, Pinewood Social area.
3 p.m. to 8 p.m.?
3 to 7, actually. I'm looking at their website right now, soberfest.com, and they updated it. It says 3 to 7.
For the park area, setup is at 2.
Admissions free, $5 drink ticket. 3 Nashville breweries, Startup Village, food trucks, Dunk Tank for charity.
Cool.
Emma's
Man, I'm sad to miss it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. All right. All right. Cool. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers our items. Like I said, I'll contact Bill. That's the last one on there. I will add. I'll probably just tether off my phone, and as we're driving, I'll add these action points into Wunderlist, so we'll have those. And I think we're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. Anything else, Sean?
Not that I can think of right now, off the top of my head.
I think we're good. Cool. And then,
Cool. I do think changing up the meeting time will be a good thing, and also we'll make sure we follow up with that. And then just communication throughout the week. I love that we have to show up and see each other's faces to be like, oh yeah, I committed to that, I'm going to do that, and I think that's super helpful as we're getting off the ground. But I think as we get more of in a rhythm, I think it'd be cool to just remind ourselves via email and even text and phone call, whatever it takes, just be like, oh hey, just want to make sure that we're working on that or whatever. And I feel like we're getting to know each other well enough to know that we all have Tennessee's best interest in mind, and we're not, there's not going to be any weirdness if someone's like, hey dude, did you get that done? It's like, oh hey, thank you, you're right, I need that reminder. So I just want to, as speaking for myself, I want to say, hey, I give you guys all permission to bug me if I need to be getting something done. I do appreciate that, because like
Yep,
we
same
said
here.
earlier, we all have plenty going on, and this is voluntary at this point, and but we're passionate about it, man. Just this weekend I was thinking about how angry I am at the way the world is shaped in many ways, and this is my answer. When people ask me, how can we make the world a better place? I'm like, I think this can make the world a better place. This can make a difference in the wars that are going on. This can make a difference in the way corporations and banks are taking advantage of the misfortunate. So I'm passionate about it, and I think we need that reminder too, just to be like, why are we doing this? Because we want a free and equitable society, and we think Bitcoin could do that. So anyway, I'm just
Amen.
excited to be on this journey with you guys, excited to play a small part, and even if I'm not as focused on it on my day-to-day, I think us reminding each other and encouraging each other will be really helpful to say, hey, this is why we're doing this, there's work to be done, but let's carve off some time away from our family, away from our businesses, and put it into this, because it has to get done. It's important. So I appreciate you guys.
Yep.
Thanks, Luke.
Stepping off my soapbox. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Alrighty.
All right.
Peace.
Bye, guys.